I can help you. With whatever you need, I can help.
I always wanted to create Victor. I wanted Oz to sort of have a mentee. I always found it interesting that certain people like the Falcones would see Oz as less than, but a kid like Victor, in the place that he is, would see Oz as a god. And Oz likes that, would want to keep a kid around like that.
I got ambition.
That's where you start to see who Victor is and how he kind of interacts with the world.
Victor plays a really fundamental and important role in Oz rising up through this power vacuum.
I'm gonna run this goddamn city, and I want you in on it.
Renzi is so surprising and raw and real and emotional. We needed a youthful kid who could also be believable in a crime exploration where he has to do truly violent things.
We don't have a lot of pure characters, and Victor, there's a lightness to him, a naivety in some ways. He was really close with his family. He was never involved in crime before Oz. Oz finds him when he's stealing his rims, but Victor's doing that to survive because he lost his family in the flood. So for the first time, he ends up trying to do something that would go against his mother and father's wishes if they were still around. He meets Oz.
Hey! Oh, you sons of bitches! Go, go!
Once Vic comes into Oz's orbit, Oz has this moment of empathy for Vic.
Please, please, please.
Victor has a stutter. I wanted Oz to realize that very early on and to feel a connection, that he reminds him a little bit of himself.
With his bum leg and with his scarred face, there's this way in which that's all a vulnerability, so that when Vic's stutter is revealed to Oz, it can't help but affect him.
What's your name?
It's Victor.
It was important to make sure that we were depicting having a speech impediment correctly. We worked with Mark Winsky. He really helped Renzi dissect that aspect of the character.
We worked on practicing different types of stuttering, whether that's a block like that, or a prolongation, or a repetition, and kind of having that palette to then take those things and create a stutter that's purely authentic to him.
You nervous?
No, I stutter. Where Mark really was the most helpful was in figuring out what's kind of going on in the mindset of someone who's stuttering and how that feels. And so we did a lot of stuff, a lot of calls to places, me going in public and practicing with it, just so that I could feel what it was like to go around in the world and have people look at you a certain way, so that whenever you're doing it in the show, you have an idea.
Right, I'll do the steak of,
The restaurant scene is a really big spot-on scene for the stuttering community. Victor has a lot of trouble, and the waiter fills in his sentences, which people shouldn't do, by the way.
Steak frites.
Hey, don't do that. The man was speaking. Let him finish.
Having Victor hear that he can take the time that I'm getting chills thinking about the scene, but having the time that he needs and not have anybody change that is just so big and so important.
Renzi just did such a beautiful job and really embraced that aspect of the character, and it became so much a part of him. It's an interesting depiction and something that's not a limitation for him at all by any stretch. It's just part of who he is.
Fuck what they think. Let them wait. You don't take up space. You got fight in you, Vic. You gotta let it out.
Oz sees something in Victor, and a common thing I think you find with young men, why they get into crime. Many of them are looking for father figures, older brother figures, and Oz was the perfect person to lead Victor into this world.
I believe in you, kid.
And over the course of that relationship, there's a turn that happens with Vic.
There's a moment where Victor is trying to figure out, should I go with this girl, Graciela, who I really love and care for, who's very emblematic of his past, or should I stick with Oz, who treats me badly half the time?
What did you have before I found you, huh, kid? You got all the opportunity in the world right fucking here.
It's an empowering feeling to be able to think that you're a part of something bigger. And you're with a guy who you've seen is pretty damn capable. Where else am I gonna get this? And so when he's thinking about, do I leave or do I take this opportunity that I've been given, it sort of opens him up to be able to make the decision, this is the life that I wanna live, this is what I wanna do. Slowly and surely enough, we do get to the point where Oz starts giving him much more respect, much more responsibility. Victor takes that on and wears it kind of like a badge of honor.
Victor feels very connected to Oz and very connected to Francis. They're his new makeshift family, and he loves Oz. He would do anything for Oz. And when he goes back to Crown Point, he meets Squid again.
What's good, man? Where you been?
There's a threat to the family. He realizes that Squid's not gonna go away, and so in a split-second decision, he pulls out his gun and he shoots and kills Squid.
There's really no going back now in terms of his own morality. He loses a bit of himself in that moment.
He aims incorrectly, he clips his neck, and Victor has to watch what he did. Just to show how imperfect Victor is at this. He's not a skilled killer, but this is the first person he kills.
I'm sorry.
It's also an evolution. When you're in a gang, if you're part of a crew, if you're in the mob, your first kill's a big deal.
The trajectory of where he was at the beginning to this person who now can kill others, you see the consequence emotionally, but you know this is now part of his DNA. This is who's become.
Renzi, he had this innocent beauty, but he also had a toughness that you could believe on an exploration.
Jesus, I need a chance.
His is some of the most moving stuff.
They're gonna tell stories about us one day, kid. Victor Aguilar, Oz woke up.